Hey, what's up everybody? Prospector here with Watcher Realm. Today we're checking out Hell's Lament, and more specifically, Silas Exclusive Effect on Hell's Lament set versus Infernal Roar. Which one's going to be best? And is it even worth the hassle of trying to get this Silas exclusive? That's what we're here to find out today. Without further ado, let's dig in. Okay, so what am I talking about? For those of you who don't know, there's a bunch of new gear that came into the game, and it has exclusive effects on it. For Silas, it has to land on his bangle, and it has to come on a Hell's Lament set, which, when the ultimate is triggered, increases damage by 30% and crit damage by 40%, lasting for 8 seconds. His ult lasts 20 seconds, so it doesn't even really cover the time of his ult. The real question is, did they put this exclusive on the right artifact set? I'm not so sure that they did, but we'll find out. But his exclusive effect is increases the damage of soul sniping to 160%. So this will be on throughout the whole fight. As long as this piece is on him, this will be active. So all of his soul sniping will be added an extra bonus of 20%. What is soul sniping? On the talent, deals 20% extra damage to airborne units after attacking 5 times, triggers soul sniping on the next attack. So every 6th attack, he's going to do soul sniping.
Your soul is mine.
Soul sniping deals 140% damage that ignores 50% of the target's defense. And with the exclusive, that brings it up to 160% damage that ignores 50% of the target's defense. So there's extra 20% damage on soul sniping. We're going to find out if that's going to lead to a big benefit with him or not. On his ultimate, though, his damage increases by 80%, and each attack becomes soul sniping. That ignores the defense and magic resistance of the target for 20 seconds. It's the same effect. 140% will be brought up to 160%. So during his ult time, every attack will do 160% damage that ignores 50% of the target's defense. How is this going to pair up versus Infernal Roar? So Infernal Roar, I go to a piece of Infernal Roar set, just basic attack damage plus 40%. So all of his damage is increased at all times by 40%. Versus Hell's Lament, which is going to be when the ultimate is triggered, increases damage by 30% and crit damage by 40%, lasting for only 8 seconds. I do have a very nice comparison with these two builds here. I have Silas and Hell's Lament, which he's in right now. And if I go to switch him over to Infernal Roar, you can see the damage differences on the sets. So switching him to Infernal Roar, he's going to lose like 100 attack, which isn't really a big deal. And he's going to be losing 3% crit damage, and his attack speed and attack interval stays about the same. But, as you can see, his BP is through the roof with this set, so that's kind of nice. You can see there's an exclusive ring down here. That is for the Cursed Cults exclusive. This just happened to be a piece that I pulled, and it works for the Hell's Lament set to complete the set. This does not benefit him in any way. For the testing, I'm going to be going into Guild Boss 1, Nightmare 4, and I'm going to be running through some tests with him there. But first, we're going to be going into artifact material rating, kind of just seeing the damage number difference. Okay, so all I'm going to be placing is Silas and Oleg, and then we'll start the fight. I'll try to keep an eye on the damage numbers. See what kind of numbers he hits. So Silas immediately, and then Oleg. Put on 2x to get the ult going. You can see right now he's hitting at 77 to 57. Here comes the soul sniping. It was around 127, I think it showed. Alright, so here we go. The ult's going. I just click on somebody. We should be able to slow it down nice and slow. Every hit should be soul sniping now. 160% damage. Comes the arrow. That's kind of cool when you slow it down, isn't it? 400k. 400k. Remember, it's only for 8 seconds. And he gets the extra 30% crit damage and extra 30% damage. See what the next one does. 400k. 400k. So he's hitting about 400k on the beginning of the ult. But still 423. Seems kind of random. 423. 297, so the ult's it's not even like through the middle of the ult here, so it seems like it's already off. 297, that must be that 30% crit damage difference and 30% attack damage difference, right? So not even Well, I mean, it makes sense to be right here on the bar when his ult is done getting the boost, and now he's down to 250 hits, or 250k hits. Let him finish the fight. Still gets it done within, like, I don't know, what was that, 20% of the ult left? Let's see the difference in Infernal Roar. Okay, so here's the build. It's about the same. It was 14.7 for the Hell's Lament build, but this one's 14.669. Yeah, it was 14.769, so it was only like 100 loss. 276 crit damage, and 1.2 attack interval with 21% rage regen. So let's see the difference in those hits. We're hitting like 400k, and then it dropped down to 250 after the 400k hits were done. Okay, so starting off just like before, I'm gonna go ahead and place down Silas and Oleg immediately. Put it on 2x until we get there. And you see he's hitting already a lot harder at 106. Here comes the ult. Ready. Comes the hits. 388 with Infernal Roar, 388. Now there was a little boost in there before, and the other one's 412. So, I mean, is it really worth it? That's with the 20% exclusive bonus. I mean, by the time you can get this stuff, you're gonna have Infernal Roar sets like galore. I can't see a good reason, based off of this already, if it's gonna really pay off. So he's still sitting at 412. Now it's dropping down to 358. 358. Way higher. 300. See them fish fight. Yeah, right around, it's about 30% of the out left. So it's a little quicker, taking the boss down. About the same, you know, within 10% or so, as far as a short range fight goes. But how does it compare in a long range fight? That's the real question. Because most of the fights that we're going to be in is not just some quick one off to the boss and then it's done. Well, maybe some of the situations you might be in, or Void Rift or something along those lines. Alright, so here is the team. We have Yovar, Hex, Silas, Hollow, Laurel, Torador, Arrogance, Lust, Volca, and Dolores. My Dolores kind of inspiration set here is, or invigoration set, it isn't the highest attack. It's at 12.6, so it's probably pretty average for a lot of players. So it's nothing crazy. Like my main account is sitting at like 14k. All these heroes are built really well. I'll show you a couple of their builds. It's Arrogance coming in with 17k attack, 395 crit damage. We have Lust here with 16.5k attack, 384 crit damage. You can see that the builds are very, very decent. Now, Silas, as I've already stated, is sitting right around 14,669 attack, 376 crit damage, and 1.2 second attack interval, with a little bit of rage regen. Right, well, as long as it's right around 20%, we should be good to go. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and right into a time lapse, and then come back to you after the fight is done and show you the results with Infernal Roar. Alright, so we're coming up to the end of the fight here. Very nice score, 96.5k. So let's see what the damage numbers came out to. X right around 245, 250, that's expected. Lust at 195, Arrogance at 162, but the one we want to really pay attention to is Silas, sitting at 145 million in this build. This is pretty consistent with me, kind of the numbers I'm seeing with him on the Infernal Roar sets. So, how is that going to compare to the Hell's Lament set with this exclusive bonus on it? I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to go ahead and show you the difference as I'm switching it. Here's the difference on the right side. It's not too wild. Just a minus 100 attack, like I said before, minus 3% crit or plus 3% crit damage, and plus 3.5% rage regen. So in a way, the Hell's Lament build is a little bit better, even a little bit more attack speed. That'll bring his total stats to 14.771 attack, 1.2 attack and roll, so the attack and roll is the same, 279 crit damage, and 24.5% rage regen. And by the way, he is in his exclusive artifact, if I didn't mention that before. Same thing. I'm gonna go ahead there and test it and try to be as consistent as I possibly can. I've ran this fight probably 1,000 times in the past. I use the exact same team on my main account, so for me trying to push it further and further, I got a lot of experience running this fight. So I will be able to keep it consistent, I can guarantee that. Anyways, be right back after this fight. Alright, so here we are coming up on the fight again. Here's the end. 95k blood. Pretty decent run. Let's see the results. 249, about the same. Right around 200 with lust. About the same with lust and arrogance. And here we are. 20 million short. Well, almost 20 million short of the 145 record that we just set with Infernal Roar. Now I've ran this a few times. With the Hell's Lament set, it kind of varies from between 123 to 127, and Infernal Roar is very consistent at 145 million. So it kind of answers the question that it's kind of falling short of the Infernal Roar set, which I would argue that this set is a lot harder to get. If you ask me, I guess if you're picking off at like the early stages of Gear Dungeon, so if you're in here for, you know, you're picking off like real early stages, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're getting lucky and you pull this piece, it would be amazing for you. This set is probably the second or third best set if you have his exclusive with really good stats on it like this. I would argue probably Soulbound Arcana is still going to kind of come up on top in the long fights, but it might come up in second place. That's what I'm saying. It's going to like shift back and forth with Soulbound Arcana versus Infernal Roar. Infernal Roar is still going to be king almost for all battles, and I don't really think there's much else to say about it. I'm kind of disappointed. I was really hoping that maybe that 20% boost with soul sniping would equate to a lot more, but it just doesn't because of the Hell's Lament set bonus. Is just not good enough. It's, if it was for 15 seconds maybe, or if it was like maybe for 20 seconds where it at least give him that damage boost during his ult, but the amount of damage or time that he's out of his ult, he's losing so much, and you'd think that that extra 20% of soul sniping would make up for it. Well, it doesn't. I think you have to put this up at like, I don't know, somewhere between 180 and 200% for soul sniping to make this set worth the hassle. That being said, if you pull this piece, you can put it on as a single piece in your broken sets in the early to mid game where you don't have full Infernal Roar sets or you're struggling with gear, and it's going to make a huge difference for you. But in the end game, or actually late to end game, I don't have any desire to put this piece on my Silas. I just don't. I've seen it, done plenty of testing with it besides just an Artifact Material Raid and Guild Boss 1 Nightmare 4, and I'm just not impressed with Hell's Lament. It bugs me that this set that is usually kind of hard to get is worse than a lot of the sets that you can just farm up in the gear raids. Gear dungeon sets should always outperform the gear raid sets. Period. That being said, there is a bit of a caveat where, like I was saying, you can pick up these pieces early on. It's kind of slow, but if you get a little lucky when you're kind of crafting these, and you pull the Silas Exclusive, or if you just pull a full set of Hell's Lament somehow, or even just, it's just an extra chance of getting a good roll on gear, you know, it's still worth it doing that, especially for early, mid, even maybe into the late game a little bit. When it comes to the end game, Hell's Lament just does not shine. And for that reason, I say that this exclusive effect on Hell's Lament set is dumb. I think it really is stupid. Now, what I think they should have done is I think they don't want this gear to be too overpowered, because we have Vierna's exclusive over here, where attack speed doesn't matter, so she can't hit enemies fast enough to get this full boost from Cataclysm. But if Silas's exclusive bangle was on Cataclysm and Vierna's exclusive bangle was on Hell's Lament, I think we'd be looking at something here. But it's like they got these two backwards. I don't know. But if this bonus was on a Cataclysm set, I'd be excited, because he'd be able to keep up that 45% damage boost for the most part, and then he'd have the extra bonus of the 20% to his soul sniping. My conclusion is it sucks. I'm not happy with it. I'm not really excited to forge these materials or craft these materials, or Silas specifically. I can't really speak on the others yet. But anyways, guys, that's it for the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. YouTube analytics show that only 15% of my viewers are subscribed. If you just hit that like and subscribe button, I'd deeply appreciate it. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep digging.